Hey, welcome. Okay, welcome to the Swap the Waste, Fuel the Change 5-day challenge, you guys, where we are going to be detoxing your body, your home, your mind. And we're going to be doing it in a way that it actually sticks. So, for today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to focus on the first one, and that's the mindset. Okay, we're going to understand actually the foundation of the mind and how it works. And I'm going to be giving you just a different light, a different view of maybe why the systems, the things, the commitments that you've set for yourself might not be sticking. And I'm going to give you some swaps that you can do like actually right away. We're going to talk all about that. I'm super excited, you guys. Just a little bit about me, though, first, before we get started. I'm Evelyn Tribble. I'm actually a Latina mom. And I'm a life and leadership coach. I'm a systems and automation strategist. I'm a wellness mentor, the creator of Aligned and Anchor. And this is where I'm able to combine faith and mindset and practical strategy to help you simplify your home, your business, your body, and just your life so that you can walk in clarity, confidence, and peace. So, if this is your first time joining me, I'm so glad you're here. And if you've been around for a while, welcome back, because this week we're going to detox the areas that honestly might just be draining your day quietly and we have no idea, right? And we're all going to start with the mind. Because real transformation, I say, it doesn't start with doing more. It actually starts with how you think and what you focus on and what you're carrying that has never, it was just never meant to be there, right? Okay, so I want to start by being real with you. A few years ago, I hit a major milestone in my business. I had promotions, recognition, trips, all the things I thought would finally make me feel fulfilled. But behind the scenes, I was exhausted. I was a mess. My body was feeling it. My joints were feeling it. I was hitting the 30s, the 40s, and I was just getting older. The kids were getting older. The boys' schedule was just beginning to be more and more outside of the home, right? And I'm going to say that I was just surviving on coffee. I was skipping meals. I was constantly just pushing, but not really getting taking care of myself either. I felt like it was either business or my health, but I couldn't do both at all, right? I also had just gotten a new puppy. I was barely sleeping. Like I said, I was just juggling sports, schedules with the boys. And even though my business looked like it was striving, I wasn't. I remember waking up at night with my shoulder completely numb. I couldn't throw the football with my boys anymore. And even though I was still having my quiet time in the mornings, I knew something was off. Spiritually, I was running on fumes, okay? And it's not that I was, failing. And it's not that I was being lazy. I was just living in this state of mental waste and survival. And it just wasn't serving me whatsoever. And so that's what today's about, learning how to renew our minds and just operate from peace and not pressure. So let me I do want to say before I move on, do not forget your workbook. Okay, this is something that you got on the first day registration. As a matter of fact, when you're getting this replay, it's also going to be in that email. I'll probably hit you up on text again, as a reminder for tomorrow. But I will always come back to this workbook. So I have it printed out myself because it's how we work through it. Oh, okay, and it's somewhere around here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so just make sure you get it. This is the workbook. You can either take a screenshot of each page so you don't have to print it, or you can print it if you're like me and you like, having a piece of paper and to work through. Okay. This is actually what's going to start getting you into the prizes, which we're going to talk about here in a little bit, but it's also what's going to create that transformation. Okay. Honestly, the hardest work will always be the mental work, the mind work. And it's just something that we do not make time for, but it is where the transformation begins. Okay. All right. Real quick, too, be sure to watch until the end because there is going to be a special bonus that you get to take part of. And I'm so privileged, just honored to be able to share that with you. So take a look at the end for that special bonus. Okay. All right. On the leaderboard, you guys, this is what I'm going to be posting every single day. It's going to be in your emails. It's every day it's going to be changing. Okay. So you get the chance to really just get a bunch of points for this challenge. Okay. Again, it's the Swap the Waste Fuel the Change challenge. So far, right now, we have Tashana Floyd, Jamie, Rebecca, Rihanna, Christy Pence, Julie Bailey, Angie, Katie, Alicia. Oh my goodness. I just realized I misspelled your name. Forgive me. Michelle, I will get that ready. Myra, Denise, Jessica, Lauren, Nikki, Roberta, Yvonne, Allison, Tanya, and Kimberly Butts. Okay. You guys are all on this board and you're thinking, why am I on this board? Well, you already have 20 points. That's why you're on this board. You got 20 points simply by registering. And so I'm going to go into how you get points really quick. And then we'll come back to what the prizes are going to be. All right, how you get points. The number one way to get your point is to get registered. So that is why you got 20 points. Okay. You're going to get an extra bonus 20 points when you go into the actual events, right? And just hit RSVP. So these points are going to change like rapidly, okay, because there's a few that have already gone through and RSVP'd on the event. So your points are going to be a little bit more than what you have now. Okay, so that's an extra 20 points for each day. So 20 times 5, that's another 100 points. Okay, so this is how it changes super quick. Again, when you print out the workbook or you screenshot each page, because that's what you're going to be working on, and you can have like a separate journal where you actually write it down and do your homework. Okay. All right. So you get 10 points for each page that you, just 10 points for screenshotting or printing out your workbook. Okay. All right. You're going to get an additional 10 points each day for actually completing the assignment. So for today, you're going to have, the first page. There's 3 questions. You answer it, you journal it. If you screenshot it and post it into the group, which by the way is going to be in the email. It's all going to be there. Okay. So I keep referencing the email. Check it in spam if you haven't received it. Text me or message me if you're just like, I'm lost. Okay. All right. So don't worry about that. You're going to get the opportunity. So write it down. You're going to get to post this in the group when you do that, or send it to me. Okay. If you don't want all your stuff, your reflections being posted on Facebook group, not the actual, page, then it's okay. Just text it to me. This is how you're going to get points. Okay. But if you're up for putting it out there on the Facebook group, it creates community and support and accountability. People love to see that. It creates engagement, and that would be awesome as well. Okay. Either ways, you're going to get your points. All right. The fourth way you can get your points is by not just completing it, but when you actually, again, post it in the group. So that's 10 points for doing the task, 30 points for posting it in the group, because that's a big deal. So we're getting some more points there. That's another 50, another 150. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. You get the point. It's going to go really fast. And then at the end, I would love to see you post a testimonial within the group about like how these just assignments and these like weekly or daily pivots and shifts are making a huge change already. Because I'm going to tell you that in the past challenges, the women that have gone through this and actually even gotten through 1, 2, 3, they're just like, oh, this is awesome. They get this aha moment and they want to post about it. And it's been amazing. Okay. All right, so get your testimonial in there. It's a bonus 50 points when you attend live or watch the replay. So when you're just like, I know you're doing the homework, you're also going to get, for watching the live and the replay, either one. Okay, but just hashtag live or hashtag replay if you're doing this. For sure. Okay. All right. And then the last one is, put me up on your stories and tag me. Something that you're learning, aha moment, whatever it is. It could be your homework. It could be, it's up there for 24 hours. People are just, they can't really read what you're saying. They're just, saying like, oh, wow, this is awesome. And you're tagging me so that I know and I can give you, it just brings more people to awareness for this. Okay, so you're just like, what are the prizes? The prizes, you guys, are going to be, the number one is going to be something that we're going to talk about tomorrow a little bit more. It's going to be the bioactive peptides. In the past, I've done lean, which curbs your appetite a little bit. It just basically curbs the cravings, not the appetite, but the cravings that you get, just like throughout the day, and it's like not time to eat, like you just ate an hour ago, right? Or just want a snack and things like that. That's what I've done in the past. This time I'm going to give you a choice. And fit may not be one of the choices though, because it's actually a little bit on the higher end, but I love these peptides. Okay. And so, there's also one that are, I think you're going to be getting like pack of hydrates. That might be one that we do because everybody needs hydration and they're not exactly peptides. Okay. But it's a way to get you started for sure. Okay. All right. And so you get to pick that out and we'll get that out to you. I'll get you on there. And then the second one, you're going to get the Norwex household package. And these are my favorite cleaning tools. If you are not aware of what Norwex is and how it can simplify and make your cleaning a lot more healthier for you, these are just things that we can use in our home to minimize clutter. Because let's face it, you guys, if you can clean your home with just 3 things, then what all the things can you just get rid of underneath your kitchen sink? Okay, really, right? I mean, you have like multiple cleaners, right? That gets replaced with just this. So we're going to learn all about this on day 3. But I just wanted to put that out there. The third person is going to earn a one-on-one clarity call with me. These are powerful clarity calls. I ask you questions and you do all the talking. I just guide the conversation, you reflect, and you have all these aha moments. And before you know it, you have left with so much clarity of where you're going in 2026. They're amazing calls, okay? All right, so that's what that is. So let's get started. We're 12 minutes in. I want to get through this information so that it is minimal time for you to actually go through the replay and then just like take in the information and actually do the homework. All right, why does this workshop matter? Why does this whole challenge matter? Here's the thing. Now more than ever, women are looking for holistic approach. And you're like, ooh, what's the holistic approach? To taking care of themselves. They're looking for answers and they're wanting things to finally stick. You guys, I've had the privilege of speaking with over 190 women just in this last month and in this last year, and working with women, and I hear the same thing over and over again. I've tried this, I've tried that, I've tried this. Nothing sticks. I know what to do, but I'm not doing it. Or I had no idea that this was going on in my body. I finally went to a doctor and he actually didn't prescribe medication. He actually gave me just a simple thing like, hey, let's change the diet a little bit, right? That's what you call a holistic approach. And more women are looking for a holistic approach. Honestly, men too, all right? But I'm specifically talking to us women. We don't want more medication. We don't want more Band-Aids. We don't want more things that are just not going to work. What we want is to finally have it stick. And what is that? What is that? So we're going to go really, really deep into this. So you're in the right place if you're tired of starting strong, but struggling to stay consistent. You know, willpower alone isn't the answer anymore. Okay. You feel mentally overloaded. You're disconnected from yourself, even though on the outside you're doing all the right things. Okay. Or you want peace, you want clarity, you want momentum. You don't want all that pressure. You don't want to feel like you have to be perfect all the time, because who wants to walk around, you know, eggshells all the time, right? And you're ready to try a different starting point, because whatever you've been doing is just not sticking. And you're like, why? Right? Or maybe you sense that something needs to change, but you're not sure where to begin. And you're just open to learning a framework that helps you to keep the commitments that you make to yourself, right? So what we're going to learn today is three things. We're going to learn the truth about your brain, how the reticular activating system works. Okay, this is a phrase that we toss around a lot, but it has to do with the brain. And then we're going to couple that with gratitude, and why gratitude actually is a powerful reset. So with that, it's not a mindset trick. You're going to see why your focus shapes your experience before effort even begins. Okay. So where you're putting your focus, that's what's really going to shape how you experience whatever new thing, task, whatever assignment, whatever commitment you give yourself for this year, right? Where you put your focus in is actually going to take precedence before you even put in the effort, okay, to do that thing, okay? All right, the second thing we're going to learn is how to identify mental waste. And I'm going to show you a simple thought model framework, okay? This is so that you're going to be able to recognize which thoughts are actually draining your energy. They're just not serving you whatsoever, all right? They honestly don't deserve your attention, okay? But only you can identify that, right? I can't. So we're also going to teach you 3 practical mind swaps that you can apply immediately, like today, to start shifting from feeling pressure about doing what you have to do, or doing the thing, or even keeping your commitments, right? Just a practical mind swap that you can apply right now. And then that way you can be so clear about where you're going. You're not forcing yourself to be positive person. It just will come out of abundance and just overflow. All right. And that's what we want. Okay. Here's number 1. Let's begin. How does this reticular activating system work, and why gratitude? Okay. All right. So let me pull out my notes when it comes to this. All right. This is a little bit of some science and just a mixture of science and spirit. Okay. So we want the holistic approach. We want the approach that doesn't give us a lot more medicine and band-aids, right? That just doesn't fix the problem, because we're not here to fix ourselves, but that actually gives us a way to approach it in a way that we understand what's happening, in the brain, and what we can do to help our brain get to the point where we actually do the thing, right? So what's really cool is that God designed our brains with something called the reticular activating system. And so that's what you see, a bunch of images right here. Some people call it RAS, RAS, okay? So I want you to think of it as like a filter. So your brain is constantly deciding what to notice, what to ignore. It basically says, what am I going to focus on? Okay, that's what your brain is constantly doing. Whatever you think about repeatedly, your brain will bring more of that into the awareness. So the reticular activating system is that part of the brain that brings to mind more of what you're focusing on. So if the dominant thought is I'm behind, or I can't keep up, or I'm failing, or why is it that this doesn't stick for me? What your reticular activating system will do, your RAS, it will start filtering your world to confirm that belief, or whatever that story is that you've told that you're constantly thinking about, right? That dominant thought. But when you intentionally focus on gratitude, and this is where we bring in gratitude on, which is gratitude is just being grateful for what God is already doing, instead of focusing on what you lack. So think about a glass of water, right? And let's think about it being halfway full versus halfway empty. You can have two perspectives. If the glass is only halfway full, it's also halfway empty. But what our brain sometimes often does when we're not focusing on gratitude, is it will focus on the part that's empty as opposed to the part that's full, right? And so I want you to think about it that way, because when we intentionally focus on gratitude, on the part that's full, which is what God is already doing, your brain is going to begin to look for evidence of his goodness, more of his goodness, right? So that's why gratitude isn't just a nice habit. It's a very large neurological part of like what we would call worship. Okay, it's neurological worship. Have you ever thought about that? It aligns your brain with the truth, with the actual truth. And that's why I love this simple practice. And I'm going to teach you this: release your tension and set your intention. It's not here on your notes, but you can write all of this down on your notes as you're listening to this. Release your tension and set your intention is actually something that I learned from this book. It's called The High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard. It's pretty cool. All you do before each task. So think about the many times you go throughout the day, transitioning from one task to another task. So think about it like this. You wake up in the morning, right? And you are transitioning from having slept to, getting in the shower, for example, to get ready for the day, whatever your routine is for getting ready for the day. So if in that moment you were to just all of a sudden release the tension that you felt, maybe it's exhaustion from not having good sleep, right? Maybe it's just anger all of a sudden because you went to bed angry, right? Whatever that might be, what if you were to release it and just say, Lord, I release the anger, or I release the exhaustion or the fatigue, right? And then you were to set your intention. So you were to say, I set my intention to see you in everything today, or whatever it is that you want it to be, you set that intention. So you can say, this is the day the Lord has made. I set my intention, and so I will rejoice in it, right? So that's like fighting fatigue and exhaustion and not wanting or not feeling like you want to get up out of bed, right? So what if we were to do that every single day? That one moment can create space for peace. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome? Okay. All right. So that is the reticular activating system and how it works. Is how the brain works, okay, and why gratitude is something that you want to adopt. The second thing I want to teach you today, how to identify mental waste. So this is the thought model framework, okay? All right, I'm going to quickly go through this because I just want you to take on these things and just write them down and just journal about them, okay? Let's talk about how mental waste actually forms. That's what this is. Every situation follows the same pattern. You're going to start with the data, the story, that leads to the emotion, the behavior, and then the outcome. All right. Did I put all my things in there? The data, the emotional, the data, the story, the behavior, the emotional response. And that is what leads us to the outcome. Okay. All right. Okay, so what you do is you start with the data. The data are just facts, okay? If you were to go to the court of law, you could stamp it at this date, this time, this happened, okay? So that's just the facts. So there's typically a number associated when you think about data. And then there's the story. The story is the meaning that you assign based on those facts. So do you see the difference already? One's the data, what actually happened. And the other one is the story, the meaning that you assign to that data. That means that your story and your data may not line up. It could be two different things, okay? But if we can identify those, the differences, you will begin to start feeling so much relief. And then the third part is the emotion, how that story makes you feel. Because you're feeling what emotion you experience in that moment, right, is what's going to give you the behavior that you're going to do or avoid. So that's the number 4, the behavior. Do you see how all this is lining up? And then your behavior it's ultimately what gives you the results. So you could say that what you begin, your results completely tie back to the story, the meaning that you assigned that data. So that's why your thoughts are the one thing that you can control. It is the one thing you can control. You can't control the data. You can't control other people. You can't control what others do or what others say, right? Or even the results of, your team or your business. But what you can control is your thought. So here's a real life example, just to bring it back real quick. The data, I have the laundry pile is growing, but that's not very specific. If you were to go to the court of law, right, you would have to say, this morning at 7 a.m. when I walked by the laundry room, there was 2 loads of clothes sitting on the folding table, like ready to be folded, right? Okay, so that's data because we're putting numbers to it. The story behind it is I could walk by there and have told myself, man, I'm failing as a mom. Shoot. That's a lot of clothes I have not gotten to, or I haven't delegated it to the kids to do it, right? Like, I'm just failing as a mom. I'm falling behind, whatever. The emotion could be like feeling defeated, right? And then my behavior is I could completely shut down or start scrolling on my phone, right? Or just avoid the situation in general. So what am I doing? I'm creating my outcome right there, right? The pile is going to continue to grow because so do us wearing clothes every day. And then so does my mental clutter, because now I have home clutter. I also have mental clutter. It's constantly taking space in my mind because I'm not getting that done. Right? So the problem isn't the laundry. The problem is the story, though, that I attached to that data. So what if I was to do that again, but change that thought like, oh, I have some clothes that need to get folded, right? That's different. That's different. That's not putting that. If I say, oh, I have some clothes that need to get folded, then I can just say, all right, let's work on, getting that done today by the end of the day. And then my brain starts to work to resolve that problem as opposed to just avoiding it, right? So that's what I mean by the thought model and how important that is. Okay, now let's feed it through this REMAIN method, you guys. This is a $30,000 framework that I'm getting ready to give you. The REMAIN method. What is the REMAIN method? All right, I'm going to explain this to you. This is where we're going to bring it all together. The reason that change doesn't stick isn't because you're inconsistent. It's because you've been trying to start at the wrong place. We always look for we tend to look for outer solutions. We're like, oh, this will work, or this will work. Maybe this will work. Maybe this will work, right? I have to change my diet. So I got to change my diet. Then you don't stick with it. Or I got to do this. Maybe if I take these, wellness supplements, that'll really start it. But then you don't actually do the exercise because, you don't want to do all these workouts. You don't want to get to the gym, right? So your brain always wants to start on the easy, and it's not the easy way out. These are just ways to be able to supplement, incorporate into a healthy lifestyle, right? But what we want to do is not not start there. We want to start in the right place. We want to start in, and here's where, let me introduce to you the REMAIN method. Okay, this is a framework where you can really begin the whole body, home, mind alignment. It starts with the R. It's an acronym. R stands for rooted. Okay, we're going to think about our identity. Nothing actually sticks without a rooted identity. We have to know whose we are first. Okay, if you don't know who you are, you're always going to react to pressure as opposed to prevention. Okay, we're just going to constantly be on the state of reaction, like reactive. Okay. And there's so much more that we're going to get into this throughout the week. Okay. All right. E for evaluate. This is the thought model, you guys. This is where we learn to observe what your thoughts are without judging yourself. Like, don't judge yourself for the thought that you just had, right? That's the whole goal. Look at it as a third person so that you're not judging yourself, and just think and just ask yourself, okay, well, does that serve me? Does that push me and propel me forward and give me momentum? Or is it, crippling me, right? Is it a crippling thought? Do I want this? If the answer is no, then we can work with that. But so E is evaluate, so awareness. M is for minimize. Okay, this is where we begin to remove what drains us. So this is where gratitude comes in, identifying the thoughts that don't serve you, and then you're releasing them. And that's the release tension and set your intention right practice. All right. And then A is for align. This is when this is where the tools and the systems support your peace. So this is where the wellness, supplements would come in, right? This is where Norwex would come in, right? This is where you start doing your workouts or changing your diet, right? They're just simple practices, even like the release your tension, set your intention, right? Healthier ways to care for your home so clutter doesn't block your creativity or your ability to even hear God, right? It creates that peace in your home. It'll give you support for your body. So again, these are the wellness supplements like the bioactive peptides, right? Which we'll talk about more tomorrow. And then I is for implement. This is sustainable action. We're not looking for perfection. We're just looking for daily alignment. That's it. All right. And then N is nurture. We want long-term growth. We want sustainable growth that begins to impact others, not just ourselves. So this is the framework where it's not just for women, but it's also for men, because alignment is human, right? It's not gendered by any means. Okay. All right. So I want to give you 3 mind swaps for today. Write this down. This is your 3-minute homework. Okay. You're going to take a look at this page. The first one, I believe the first one is, hold on just a minute. Let me see just real quick. I can't remember. Yeah. Okay. So the first one is the page that says detoxing your mind. So let me look. They're not really. Okay. Yeah. So look at the one that says detoxing your mind. There's 3 questions in there. One is, what lies or limiting beliefs am I ready to release? Okay. 2, how can I invite God into my thoughts and routines more? And 3, what helps me feel grounded and calm? Just start with those reflective questions. Okay. I want you to start there. And then the 3 mind swaps that you can do is apply these specific thought model. And so number 1 is start with gratitude. So just start 3 things that you're grateful for. If you can't name 3, That right there is the root of why you're not keeping your commitments to yourself, or why you know what to do, but you're not doing it. Or, you know, even I'm going to tell you, even the things that your body is dealing with, like illness and sicknesses, it is so hard when we are feeling in pain, emotionally drained. I've been there, okay? When we're hurting, when others have hurt us, when our body is fatigued and just in pain, it is very hard to focus, or when everything else just seems so overwhelming, just so much going on. If it's so hard to think about even one thing that you're grateful for. I've been there. I have been there. But when I learned to start doing that, boy, my focus, and that's the reticular activating system, my focus started identifying other things of God's goodness, right? I mean, I went to Guatemala and they didn't have drinking water. We had to brush our teeth with water, from at the place that we were staying at. They made sure that we had drinking water from water bottles. People in the Guatemala, in the little towns, they don't have that, right? They couldn't use a bathroom. They had to dig a little hole, and it's public. So it's for the community. It's a pipe. They sit their little bottom down in a little pipe, and that's where they go, right? I mean, just waking up to so much goodness every single day, right? It's just to pause and to start taking that. Okay. So it's a big thing. The second swap that we can do is swap the self-criticism for curiosity. This is where we take the thought model and we see it from a third person perspective, where we're looking from the outside in and we're saying, okay, what's going on? Because if we were to talk to our child the way that we talk to ourselves sometimes in self-criticism, that child would not do well, right? They would grow up feeling like they're just not good enough. But that's how we talk to ourselves instead of talking with curiosity. So that's the second swap that I want you to do. First one is adopt gratitude. If you've already doing this, keep going, keep focusing, right? On on the glass being full, halfway full versus halfway empty. And then the second thing is begin swapping self-criticism for curiosity. Start thinking about these thoughts. Take that thought model, right, and adapt it to your life. Screenshot it, right, and adopt it, and just say, okay, what are the facts? What was my thought about that, right? How did that make me feel? And, what did I do in response to that? And then you can say, okay, and that led me to these results. The results will always lead you back to the thought that you had about that situation, about the facts, okay? And they are always the exact same thing. And then you're just like, oh, well, there you go. I was thinking it, so therefore I brought it. That's the reticular activating system, okay? So begin swapping self-criticism for curiosity, getting curious about how that result ended up happening, right? And then how you could change that thought so that you can create the results that you do want. Isn't that amazing? That's so empowering, right? Okay. So swapping pressure for gratitude, right? Taking that time to pause and reflect. And then 2, changing that self-criticism to curiosity. And then 3, just setting your intention every single day. So releasing your tension, setting your intention. How you want to show up in life, how you want to show up in this meeting, right? In a conference room, when you speak, when you present, how do you want to show up? That's what you want to do. That's so powerful. All right. Okay. Some of you today, you could just dial off. You could, that's it. Like Today's shift is enough to get you started, and that's a win. But I know that others of you are just sitting here thinking, wow, this makes so much sense, but I just don't know where to begin. So if that's you, stay with me. Um, I would love the opportunity to present with you how you and I could work together. Okay. How you could fuel your energy, how you can reduce inflammation, how you can support your health in a way that actually aligns with your life, how you can keep your commitments. I would love to. But tomorrow we're going to move into the body. So that is what we're going to talk about. Fueling, your body with energy, reducing inflammation, supporting your health in a way that actually aligns with your life. Same time tomorrow. Just remember the replays are going to be sent out. I'm so proud of you for showing up today. But for the rest of you that are curious and would like to stick around, I'd love the opportunity to share with you. Okay. So we talk about this, that the real effort isn't, or the real issue is not your effort. It's we have to learn how to remove that lid, right? So that when kind of like a boiling pot of water, if you put the lid on, what's going to happen is the water is going to start spilling, right? It's going to start spilling out. And that's what happens. We get so much on our plate. That's what we're sitting above that fire, so much going on, and it's just we haven't figured out how to release that pressure. And so that's what's happening. The shift that we're looking for 2026 is we want a clear place to start, just a simple biblical framework, support, accountability, a mindset shift. Mindset, this is what you're getting, right? Sustainable rhythm. So I would love to share this with you. You do not have to do this alone. And so this is where my invitation is extended to you. I'm introducing the 12-week experience. This is a Remain, you will receive a Remain 360 app plus group coaching experience for 12 weeks. The Remain 360 app is actually 6 weeks. It will take 6 weeks for you to actually complete it. So that's 6 weeks of that 12-week total. But you have group coaching with me for 12 weeks. So this is coaching, 12 weeks coaching. What you're going to get is you are going to get the framework of how the reticular activating system works and why gratitude is. That is the main framework that we take on the entire 12 weeks. Okay. It is huge. This is $5,000 worth just in that 12 weeks of group coaching that you are going to get. Because we really focus on this reticular activating system, how it works, and why gratitude. So we adopt gratitude. All right. The second thing that you're going to get is this, how to identify mental waste, the thought model. It is a $10,000 value. All right. I am a leader in life. I do have a leader in life coach certificate. The 6 months that I went through for this certification was so intense. It was hard. We talked hard. I definitely learned so much about what I had been holding on for years that I was finally able to release. And there was an emotional healing that had to happen before I could even stand here in front of you and even offer or talk about this stuff, right? And that was in 2021. So it's been a few years now. And so this is a $10,000 value right here that you're going to get in 12 weeks of group coaching with me. The other thing you're going to get is the Remain app method. This is $30,000 value. This was revealed to me through the Lord by his word. This is a very biblical framework. Okay. It actually comes from John 15 verses 9 through 11. So it's straight from the Bible. But in my time of remaining in him and just talking with the Lord and sitting with him and just seeking him out and his vision and plan and what he wanted. And I just kept bringing my business to him, sharing that with him. This is where he landed it. And he was able to download this Remain method. And I was like, wow. Okay. All right. So I give you this through that 12-week group experience, and I do it in this way of an app. So I created an app. It's called Remain 360. If you go to the Apple Store, you'd be able to download it. It's still working on Android phones at the moment, but you can access it on your mobile once I give you the login. Okay, once you're in, you get that login and you get to access it. The Remain 360 app. It takes you 6 weeks to actually go through it. The challenge is a 6 week. Again, 12 weeks of group coaching, so you could double up your time, right? You'll get to stay there for the 12 weeks, but the actual challenge of working through this, you're not allowed to finish it any sooner than 3 weeks. Okay, so each week we go through 5 bus stops, and each week we'll have 5 videos within that. I'm just kind of giving you what it looks like right now. This is a $5,000 package. All right. So you're probably adding this up and you're just like, oh shoot, that's 5,000, that's 30,000, 35, another 10,000, that's 45,000, plus another 5,000. That's a $50,000. Okay. I'm not charging you $50,000, but it is valued at $50,000. I want you to see that. And I am actually only, and I'm not even charging you 10,000. Okay. I'm actually only charging you $997. $997 for the 12 week of group coaching, and getting this, the reticular activating system and the app and all of that. You would get that. So that's here. Now I will say to you that just I do want to extend a special price for those that are attending this group, this challenge this week. And that is not $997, but $497. So offering that special discount, or not, it's not a discount, but special pricing, because it is, way more than $997, but it is a special pricing of $497. The way we work through that though is you would put down $100 now, to secure the $997, but then we divide the $997 over 6 months. And so you would have a 6-month payment plan. So that's how we're doing that. But if you want to take advantage of the $497 special pricing, that is a full paid in full special pricing. So if you decide, oh my goodness, I'm all in, then you would get that, and you pay in full, then you would get that special pricing of $497. Otherwise, at $997, we split it. You put down $100 as a deposit, and then we split the rest in 6 months, over 6 months. Okay. So not $50,000 worth. You are getting $50,000 worth for $997. So a killer deal. Super excited about this. And tomorrow, again, I cannot wait to get into tomorrow's topic. Again, if this is all that you need, right? If what you got valued today and you just do the work, this challenge this week, and that's all it is that you need, then that is awesome, right? But for some of you, you might not be complete. And so you might need more support and accountability. And that's what this Remain the 12 weeks experience is. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We're going to move into the body, how to fuel your energy, reduce inflammation, and support your health in a way that actually aligns your life. Until tomorrow. Bye.